Welcome to Everyday Simple Somatics, a podcast dedicated to helping you find healing through your body's natural wisdom. My name's Dr. Christine Baker, and I'll be your host. So I want to start with just affirming something. Being scared of your own healing journey is not weakness. It's actually probably representing a lot of intelligence in your nervous system. I mean, think about it. Your nervous system has spent years, maybe decades, building these very sophisticated patterns to keep you functioning, to keep you upright and moving through your days. And now here you are considering, walking into a room with a complete stranger and asking those patterns to change. Of course, there's fear. Of course, the body is hesitating. The nervous system is going to respond to anything new because the nervous system loves patterns. It loves to know what to expect because then it can know how to best protect you. And so if we're doing something new or we're interrupting those patterns, it's actually a sign that your nervous system is working. And so today, in this final episode of What is Somatic Therapy, I want to speak directly to that fear, not to argue you out of it, not to tell you it's irrational and just push through and come into therapy, but to help you understand what it's actually telling you and how you can resource yourself enough to take that next step if it's right for you. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Dr. Christine Baker. I'm a licensed professional counselor with 13 years of experience working in trauma recovery. I'm also a somatic experiencing practitioner, which just means that I am a person that believes strongly that trauma does not just impact our emotions and our thinking, but it actually impacts our physiology, specifically our nervous systems. And so when we are talking about the process of trauma recovery, we have to bring the nervous system along in that conversation, which was the birthplace of this podcast. I wanted to create a space that was accessible, simple, short, where people could actually learn skills for specific symptoms that they may be dealing with to support their nervous system in the midst of that symptom, with the hope that eventually every listener to this podcast starts to have nervous system rhythms of care that become as natural as brushing their teeth every day. And this is episode 6, which is the final episode of our What is Somatic Therapy series. And if you have been here since the beginning, I want you to know how much that means to me. This was a long series. And so I really appreciate you kind of hanging in there with me. I promise next episode, we are going to get back to kind of the normal, here's the symptom, here's what the nervous system is doing in the midst of that symptom, and then here's a practical skill. But I do appreciate you indulging me in this 6-episode series of What is Somatic Therapy. If today is your first time joining us in this series, I'd love to invite you to go back to episode 1 and start from the beginning. I really built this series with this order in mind, and I think that every episode really kind of builds on the last one. And so I don't want that to feel confusing or make somatic therapy feel even more inaccessible if you missed out on the first few episodes. So if this podcast is sounding interesting to you or it may have something to offer you, I would love to ask you to like and subscribe on whatever platform you're currently watching or listening. Those little clicks really do help other people find this content, and I really do appreciate it. Okay, so let's jump into talking about this fear that comes up when we think about starting our own therapy work. Over the course of this series, I've heard from so many of you in comments, in my DMs, in emails about this idea of, man, I think this is exactly what I need, but I'm nervous about stepping into it. And so I thought it may be helpful to kind of clump together some of the themes I'm seeing in those fears and speak to each of them individually. So the first one that I hear quite often from you guys, even from my clients, is just this fear of what might come up in my body. And that makes complete sense. If you have spent years not fully inhabiting your body, maybe there's been some dissociation or some freeze on board. Maybe you've even felt some stuff in your body, but it's almost like you've turned the volume way down so that you're just feeling a little bit. The idea of intentionally getting curious and turning that volume back up can be really scary. And so here's what I want you to know. A really good somatic therapist is not going to ask you to feel everything at once. As we talked about in episode 2, the entire methodology of somatic work is built around this principle of titration, which is just this idea that we approach difficult material in the smallest possible doses. And even in the midst of those very small bites that we're taking, we are giving resource and only moving forward when the nervous system has had enough time to settle and integrate with that first small bite. So you're not going to be pushed past what you can hold. A skilled practitioner is consistently tracking your window of tolerance, and their job is to make sure you stay inside of it. And here's one more thing I want to offer anyone who's feeling this way is, what actually comes up in a somatic session is rarely as dramatic as some of our fears anticipate. More often it's quiet. It might be like a little tightening or a little hold in the breath or a subtle impulse to move the hands. The body just offers what it's ready to offer. In the dose, it's ready to offer it, right? It's not putting something out there that it doesn't believe that the full system can handle. And so a good somatic therapist knows how to work with whatever comes, even if it seems small. A second fear that I hear often is, what if I remember something that I've blocked out? So I want to address this one really carefully because I think the way that it's normally framed actually makes it a lot scarier than it needs to be. Somatic therapy is not memory recovery work. It's not going and looking for forgotten events, trying to excavate some kind of buried content from the past. The goal of somatic therapy is regulation, not recall. We are working with what is the nervous system holding right now? What is the pattern? What is the bracing? Where in the body are there places that are still trying to complete some kind of old survival response? And that is what we follow. We follow sensation. We follow impulse. We are not looking for memories. That said, sometimes in the course of somatic work, something does surface that maybe you haven't thought about in a long time. And I want to offer you a reframe around that. Because I believe this deep in my core. I have said this to so many of my clients. If something surfaces in a somatic session, it is because your body knows that you are ready to deal with it. Your nervous system has been an extraordinary protector for however many years. It's worked so hard to keep certain things kind of down or out of that front of mind consciousness because at some point it felt like letting this be at the forefront was not safe. And so what that means is that your body is not going to let something come into your consciousness after all of that work keeping it out of consciousness without a great deal of wisdom. It's not going to accidentally drop something on you that you can't handle. If it is surfacing because something in your system has assessed that you are finally resourced enough, safe enough, supported enough to begin to move towards it. And that is not something we have to be afraid of. That is actually your body healing, right? That is your window of tolerance expanding, your capacity expanding to be able to hold something from your history that before felt like too much. Okay, fear number 3 is, what if I start feeling something and then I can't stop? What if I end up more broken at the end of this than I was at the beginning? Again, a very common fear that I hear, it is often worded to me like this. I'm afraid that if I start crying, I'll never stop. Or I'm afraid that, if I start to feel the anger, it will be like a tidal wave and it will just take me out. Or maybe people have had experiences in the past with depression that landed them in a really dark place, or experiences with anger that resulted in a rageful outburst. And so they're really afraid that if I touch into this thing that was so scary before, it's going to go right back to where it was, right? And I think that there's this fear, that somatic work is going to open that door and it's not going to be able to be closed again. I want to take a moment to speak to that fear. Emotions are not actually bottomless, even if they feel that way. What makes emotions feel like they have no bottom or no ending is when they are being felt with not enough resource alongside them. When there's a lot of activation, but there's no anchor holding that person in the present or anchoring them into safety, which is exactly why somatic work always builds resource first, and why a good somatic therapist is always tracking whether you have enough grounding and support inside to hold whatever is coming up. So the goal is that you don't leave a somatic session open in a way that feels unsafe. I really strive to make sure that all of my clients at the end of the session feel grounded, feel resourced, feel supported. I believe that closing a session safely is not optional. It's like a core part of the methodology, right? And over time, what somatic work actually builds is a greater capacity to feel without being consumed by that feeling. Because, if I have 3 sessions in a row where I touch into anger, but I leave the session kind of okay, then I believe, you know what? Maybe I can actually deal with my anger. That's more capacity in the nervous system. And then finally, I think another fear that I hear often is, what if it doesn't work? What if I'm too broken to heal? And I want to be careful with this one because I think that it is often the fear underneath all of the other fears that we've mentioned today. This is the one that has been kind of quietly building through every other treatment modality you've tried or every other mental health book you've read. When there is still struggle, there's this belief that builds that I'm the exception to healing. That shame just continues to grow. And what I want you to know is that you are not too broken to heal. Peter Levine's work was built on the observation that the capacity to heal from overwhelming experience is not something that trauma destroys. It is something that is built into the biology of every living nervous system. That discharge process, the completion of survival responses, that returning to baseline, that building capacity, these are not learned skills. They are innate. Trauma just interrupts those skills. And so what somatic work does is it just helps the nervous system remember and restore what was always there to begin with. The nervous system's not broken. Your nervous system's not broken. It's just stuck. And stuck is something that can change, right? And I want to say this too, if you've tried things before and they've not fully worked, that is not evidence that healing is not available to you. It's just evidence that those approaches that you've tried were working with one part of the system, maybe the thinking mind, maybe the content or the narrative, but maybe they weren't working with the body, and that might be the gap. And so in the midst of talking about all of these fears, when I was thinking about a practice, I wanted to offer something that kind of embodied what we're talking about here. We're like standing at the threshold of starting something new, maybe stepping into something that feels a little scary. And I wanted to honor that with today's practice. And so this practice is built entirely on consent, your pace, your body's wisdom about how close it wants to get today. There's no right outcome. There's no should here. The only invitation is to take one step towards your own body and see what it does. So what I'd love to invite you to do is to just find a comfortable position. You can keep your eyes open if that feels safer. You don't have to close them. And if it feels okay, you can take an easy breath, nothing fancy, just kind of letting your body arrive here. And before we do anything else, I would love to invite you to just take a moment to check in with yourself around how much you're willing to offer today. Not how much you think you should offer or would be internally impressive or productive, just what feels genuinely okay right now. And maybe today that feels like a lot, maybe it just feels like a little or somewhere in between. All of those are okay answers. Just notice where your body lands when I ask you that question. I think you may be able to tell with like a little bit of opening up inside, or maybe a small lean forward, or maybe it feels the opposite. Maybe it feels like a closing inside or a constricting or a leaning back. Whatever's there, just let that be information instead of judgment. Your body's telling you something about what it's ready for today, and that's just data. And so from wherever you are currently, I want to invite you to take just one small step toward your own physical experience. So not towards your history, not towards content or story, just towards what is happening in your body right now at this moment. You could do something like just asking, where is their sensation right now? Not trying to find something specific or thinking that there should be something specific there, but just noticing what is. And you don't have to name every single sensation in your body. Just pick one, notice that one. And then if you can, I'd love to invite you to just stay with it, just for one breath. You don't have to analyze it or follow it back in time to figure out where it came from. Just like one breath of presence connected to that sensation. And that's it. That's the step. Simple, just turning towards your body with curiosity instead of away from it with fear. That's not a small thing. That's actually the foundation of what somatic work will ask from you. And so I'd love to invite you to come back. back into the room that you're in or in your car or at the gym, noticing the support underneath you, maybe letting your eyes move around the space some, and just notice where you are, that you're here, that you're okay, that you're safe. And whatever came up in that practice, whether it was a little bit or a lot of it, I want you to just know that your body responded exactly right. There's not a wrong outcome here. Noticing nothing is still information. Noticing a flicker of something is information. Noticing a lot is information. Your nervous system was communicating with you every moment of that practice, and you listened, and that's the work. You just did it. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for the 6-episode series of What is Somatic Therapy. I hope that it was resourcing to you. I hope that it was informing around what somatic therapy is, what it's not, and helped you figure out if it was the right next step for you. If you are interested in finding a practitioner to work with, I'd love to invite you to check out the episode titled How to Find a Practitioner. And there's lots of information there around how to connect with someone. If you're ready to take a different kind of step, I'd love to invite you to check out the Somatic Wellness Collective. It is my online learning community where we have on-demand classes, live classes, Q&As. I have an entire workbook that's just dedicated to integrating the material that we're learning in class to your own personal story. And what I love most about SWC is just the reality that you don't have to do this work alone. There is a whole community of people who care about their nervous system and who want to do this work alongside you. So if you're interested in learning more about that, the link is in the show notes, and I would genuinely love to see you there. And as we close, remember, your body has innate wisdom. All we have to do is learn how to listen to it, and that's what I'm here for. I'll see you next week.